Hey, good morning, everybody. Wow, such a great week in the Young Fire Parent community. I'm so excited that we've passed 1,000 members. Yeah, it's been really growing very steadily the last couple of months, especially. And I'm looking forward to the next 1,000 and feeling super inspired about this space that we've created. So yeah, great gratitude to you all for creating this space with me. It's such an empowering, pristine, like high level parenting support group, I would say. Without wanting to badmouth any of the other groups, I just feel like we hold a very high standard. There's so much mutual empowerment and support here. And it's just amazing. There's just been so few transgressions of that in the group. So somehow everyone comes in, you all get it, and it's just of nothing but benefit, I hope, for all of you. So first of all, I just wanted to celebrate that and thank you all. And yeah, get into today's topic. So I wanted to just talk about reward and punishment as a paradigm, just because it's it's a big part of the program that I run, and it just is coming up for the parents that I'm currently working with. But it's part of our old way of parenting, part of command and control that we offer if-then rewards to our teens, to our children, to kind of tit for tat. You do this and then you get that. I think you'll all know what I mean. There's so many times in which we're tempted to operate like that, to be controlling and trying to get that superficial result with them. Partly it can also be just like a way of dominating, a way of having kind of power over parenting. And of course, take everything that I say with the greatest love and respect. It's just for all of us to look really at how we're doing, how we are operating, and how that can not be serving us and not be serving our teens. Sometimes it comes from a confusion over our responsibility. We feel like, we have to curb them. Isn't this what we're meant to do as responsible parents? Of course, we've learned this from the way we were parented and the way we were educated, most likely. And it can end up with us, having boundaries that then cause us to rant and rave, snap, and control in a pretty sort of primitive, it's a pretty primitive way. We just got to call it out. It's a primitive way of parenting. It's pretty unevolved, it's pretty unenlightened, and we're all in this together. So again, if this is heavy for you this morning, then take it with all the love and respect in the world. I'm in this with you too. So I do say it all with the greatest respect and sympathy, but ultimately, we're scared. We can be scared when we're using these kind of techniques, reward and punishment, scared of the judgment from others, scared of judgment probably from our own family, our own parents, the grandparents of our children, friends, other people in our schooling ecosystem, scared of judgment of ourselves, that we're worried that we're going to, we just can't bear to consider that. Sorry for the background noise from my dog rolling around. We're scared to open up the boundaries and to trust. We don't know what's going to happen when we do that. We want to have that element of control. We feel like it's good to hold on to that, because what if we let go of that? But really, that there's such a poison in holding on to it in that way. I hope you can see in your own experience. And we're scared of our children. We can be scared of our teens, definitely. Wow, and what they will do. If they'll take advantage of it, if we start to open up the boundaries and not be kind of bribing them to do things or forcing them to do things, will it be unsafe for them? Will they get harmed? These are very natural fears. Fear of the future and what this might mean if we take away the rails, we take away the railroading of them into certain behaviors and actions. And also scared of what might come up for us, our own feelings and doubts if we do step back and take the controls off. In a way we can get into prioritizing our own short term. But of course, I don't mean this in a selfish way. All of us as parents are just totally devoted to getting the best results we can, but we can get very lost along the way, prioritizing our own short term superficial sense of security over their long term gain and development. We have been culturally conditioned without wanting to get into it too much. A book like Lord of the Flies, what happens when a bunch of children are left on their own on a desert island where they kill each other, so that kind of Also with its roots in religion, that book, and some of our religious doctrine, our cultural programming really suggests to us that we can't trust ourselves. We certainly can't trust our children, but neither we can't trust ourselves or our children. And, we can see that in our institutions. Some of the schools I've visited recently, the kids just aren't left alone for a second. Private schools, the kids don't stop spinning all day because there's a fear there. There's a background fear of what will they do if we leave them to have time to themselves? What will we do if we leave them alone? And teachers literally saying that we just keep them busy. So in a parenting sense, we can end up with internet controls. And I understand all of this. And actually, I don't think all of these are a bad thing. I'll go into that in a bit. Taking away our teens' phone, for younger kids, I think of my own children, they're 10 and 9, locking up the biscuits or the sweets, or, any which way we might want to try and control a particular behavior. I've never, ever been able to get into that, just to say I've never been able to get into treating my own children like that. To just not trust them, just go, you can't be trusted, therefore I'm going to lock up this or remove that or whatever it is. But like I say, there is some nuance there with the internet and with the phone, which I'll mention in a sec. But yeah, ultimately we're undermining their self-leadership. We're undermining their sense of self-trust, that they can make good decisions, and that they they can be trusted. They can trust themselves. They're not just here to be self-destructive and harmful to themselves and others. That they will find ultimately what's best for them. We're also denying them the intrinsic reward of the good behavior that we want to see. There's a thing, my children have sometimes said, what's the prize? What's the prize for doing something, that is just good to do? And I never, ever put up a prize. I never get into that, like, well, you can have a lolly or you can have a this if you do this good thing. I want them to feel the reward of the behavior itself. That's the gold. That's the real gold. And of course, that's what we want also with their self-regulation, for them to understand, wow, okay, this is why I wouldn't be on my phone all the time, or I wouldn't be on gaming the whole time, or whatever it might be. So here are the solutions. The solutions to being stuck in a reward and punishment paradigm as a parent is to start removing all our blame and judgment, first of all, of our teens, holding them in the highest regard, as I often say. To start communicating with them, asking them and listening to them, what do they think? Discussion, collaboration with them, teamwork. Like I say, with the internet controls, my son has a device now, a gaming device, and we're just taking baby steps there. He's 9 years old. We've kept him kind of away from it as much as possible till now. And I have his buy-in completely. He can see when I leave him with the game, when I catch him with it, I never shame or blame him about that. I catch him, he's like on the game, and I'm like, Albie, he knows, he appreciates that when it's taken out of the picture, he's better supported by that. So I don't leave his gaming device in his room for him to play anytime. Otherwise, every time he went up there, he'd probably get on it, until he was bored to death of it. But, in the meantime, I think we'll have lost a lot of depth of experience and potential for him to do other things and find other ways, be resourceful, not to lose that resourcefulness, to find nourishing activities that aren't just always flipping open his gaming device. So we're working together on that, really working together on when he can have it, and that it's better for him just not to have it within reach or within eyesight. That's just a great situation for all of us, to create our environment where we don't have tempting things that, if you don't want to drink beer, one coach I heard saying, put your beer right at the back of the fridge. It makes a big difference, back of the fridge or in the door, if you don't want to drink so much. So, these things, just keeping it out of mind, out of sight. But he knows that that's helpful for him, but also definitely not the shaming and the blaming on the back of that it's only natural for him to want to play it. It's super fun. It's very Moorish, possibly addictive kind of thing. But this is a very simple device. But yeah, and educating our children about, sweet diet. The dentist obviously can have an impact on our children, to kind of educate them around why we would go to bed at a certain time, allowing him to kind of see, wow, that makes him really tired, to kind of go to sleep late, and just educating as we go, but without crushing their dignity, you know, preserving their dignity, not dominating as a parent, really allowing them to kind of step into their own self-leadership without getting in the way, avoiding the trap of lecturing them, so that they just cannot, so that it's hard for them to go along with us. You know what I mean? If you kind of are always saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, after a while, for a teen especially, they just won't do it because we want them to do it. So that's a terrible situation to get into when you're preaching something that's really important for them. So we've got to find a skillful way for them to be able to not feel like going along with what we're asking for is some sort of admission of guilt or failure or something on their part, or wanting them to collaborate with us and be in a team with us, and to find their own inner responsibility. Find that sense of like, you know, and ask them about the boundaries, ask them about anything that you're having to bring in this reward and punishment paradigm over. Ask them what they see, you know, what do they think would be best? You'll be amazed. What, you know, what time's a good bedtime? What time's a good time to stop being on the internet? What times, what's the best way to kind of get through school? Like, what do you actually want for yourself? You know, in the right context, those kind of questions. What do you want in terms of grades? I find when I speak with teens all the time, there is always such a deep responsibility there and such a surprising answer. You ask them, you know, if they're complaining about a 9 o'clock curfew for the internet, what time do you think would be a good curfew for the internet? 9:30. I mean, who cares? It's like, you know, if there can be a real sense of honoring and respect and a giving of freedoms and a sense of working together to give them a 9:30 curfew, let's do it. You know, that's huge for them and for you, for your relationship and for their empowerment, their sense of like, okay, you know, I've asked for something and I've been respected, I've been given that. And that will then bring about much more personal responsibility as well. I know that it can also go wrong. You know, if you're not ultimately very trusting or suspicious, I know that also you can go, okay, 9:30, and then they abuse that boundary. So then back to more conversation and discussion and more of a sense of like, well, we've got to make something that's going to work for all of us. So hope that was helpful. Reward and punishment is a thing of the past. It's not the way to get the motivation that we want to see in our children. So I just encourage you to put any comments in the chat below, any questions, any shares about how that's going for you, anything you want to ask in response to this topic. I'd love to hear it. And I wish you all a great rest of your week and weekend. And I'm so happy for the group, and please do post anything as always here in this beautiful space we've created together. All right, talk to you all soon. Bye.